Hello there everybody and welcome to episode 17 of my advanced tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this series I am building a neat and nice fortress with you and with lots of explanations. This is a let's play series at the same time, so I will have a major topic for every episode, but there will be all the little things that will happen in your overseer's life distracting you, and I'll give you some more explanations to that, but every topic gets done in every episode. And with that being said, let's get started with today's topic, and that's water power. So it's time for us to start engineering, my good friends, because we've pretty much settled down here. The lower level down here is coming along quite nicely. As you see here, the flooring gets done with every episode a little bit more. I'm doing these between the episodes. All the siltstone blocks that get made in one episode get laid down between those, and we're coming along quite nicely. Also, there's a Ranger's Guild that has been requested, so we need to assign that real quickly, and then we're going to go upstairs and start working on the water power. The thing about our situation here is we cannot make water power in the conventional way. The conventional way for me would be to utilize a river. We don't have a river here, so we're going to use a different way of producing water, because dwarven engineering is really impressive, and actually dwarves are capable of producing endless power. So jokes aside, this is one method which employs a screw pump, few water wheels, and generates power by pumping water around. And funnily enough, we generate way more energy than we invest, which is actually nonsense. But you know, they are dwarves, so let's just live with that. So I'm going to utilize the water power to set up a nice mist generator in the area here. Maybe even two of them. We'll see about that, because mist generators are among the most powerful happiness producers in Dwarf Fortress. So to have that going, we will need power though, because a mist generator is supposed to run always, not with somebody operating those pumps. So we go upstairs here, and this is going to be our maintenance area. Wherever we work with water, I personally have always a maintenance area of sorts. So this is going to be where we're going to work with all that. So we've yeah. So there's the map is already noping out my plans. So, or I should rather say, we have a pretty tight definition of where our water generator and the stuff will be at. So as you see here, the aquiferous rock is just in our way. I'm totally fine with that. I'm going to go this direction with it then. Let's see how that'll work out. So first off, we need to fetch some water to get to kickstart the water generator. And once the water generator is running, we can relay the power it generates around the fortress and power up things with it. And today, this is a topic that will span over multiple episodes. We're going to start out today with all that, and over the course of the time, we will get through with it. This is a pretty neat setup. I can already see that we can do some nice shenanigans with that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, to all the people who came from last episode, I did a little something that I meant to show you. In the last episode, we have configured our decorations to a new level. We're now decorating items with oh, black diamond. That was not supposed to happen. We're now decorating stuff with copper and shell, so we upgraded that a little bit. And here, I upgraded that. So this stockpile here stores now black diamonds, blue diamonds, clear diamonds, emeralds, faint yellow diamonds, green diamonds, light yellow diamonds, and red diamonds, rubies, sapphires, we're not done yet, star rubies, star sapphires, yellow diamonds, and that's that. And I excluded the entire list over at the other place. I'm not 100% sure if I catched all the different types of diamonds, but I've taken the time here, and I meant to showcase that. So you can use that for your own fortress in that regard. So, but back to topic. So here we have now a nice area to work with. So for a water generator to work, we're going to go even a little bit further away, because if we drill down a hole here, we will be standing in the city, so this is bad. I'll leave this now with that discovery, and I think we're going to produce our energy back there. That's way. So ultimately we're going to connect these areas. The connection will also be quite important, and for all these things that we're doing here today, it's super important to note this is very, very stressful for your wood stockpiles. So let's fetch us some wood, and then we're going to set up some production orders, because all the new things that we're doing here will require a lot of new items to be produced. And more migrants are hitting town, so glowing paints keeps growing and growing, so that's a good thing. Let's end up the new arrivals. Oh, and obviously got a few things to take care of here. So wait a sec, I really should put a hotkey on this floor here by now. So we're so this system here now, by the way, if you come from past episodes, we had a problem with the troglodytes climbing out. So the Atom Smasher worked quite well with the floor hatch, but I'm not sure if very climby people will not always be a problem with that. So we're going to dispose all the elk birds here at our sizzling lava pit, and then we're going to head back to our little water project. So we fetched wood, so let's go on for the work orders. I'm going to require, first off, enormous corkscrews. So you can make these out of metal or glass or wood. I recommend wood. You could also go for metal, of course, but since we have a pretty nice amount of wood going around here, I don't care. So we're going to put up amount of 5. So these are the parts for the pump. The corkscrew, if made of wood, is made at the carpenter's workshop. So next thing we're going to require is pipe section. Here again, this can be made out of metal or out of wood. If you want to make things magma safe, if you want to work with magma in your screw pump, wood is not compatible, because doesn't need any explanation, doesn't it? But since we're not working with magma here yet, we can totally work with wooden pipe sections for now. So iron, for example, would be a magma-safe material, if you were wondering. Magma-safe materials and the like are things that we're going to cover at a later point. So I think with these things, we should have the basics down. The rest is just a tremendous amount of raw wood. So the wonderful thing that is here is all that aquiferous rock. We're going to utilize that to our advantage, since this means we can generate free water here on this level, which will be outright amazing for my plans. Because what we're going to do first is we're going to set up the location for our water generator. I'm going to build a small water generator. You could make it double the size, but since this is a very FPS heavy thing, we're going to keep it low profile here, So this is what we did here. We did channel that. This is the reason why this can't go here in the city. So here we will pipe in water. So to get that water in, well, you could go, well, let's cover several methods. So one method that is pretty cool is you can go for pit and pond, and then you set up several of these. Let's make that couple, 3 or 4. Let's make it 5 in total. I do several small zones, because if I'd be pulling one big zone over that, I would be only generating one request to fetch water in here, and that would be not enough. Because now we select this here, designate the zone as the top of a pond, and now people will grab their buckets and make sure that this place will get filled with water. So then we have this thing filled with water. The thing is, if you have only one person doing the job, the water will evaporate before the next portion will get taken out. So water source, we can now use our internal cistern for that regard. And since these operations do require a lot of buckets, we are going to order a few extra buckets here at the workshop. You know, as you see, the corkscrews are already in processing, and we're going to set up a couple of extra bucket jobs. Well, we're going to see if that is all going to be processed properly. Then the water generator will be filling with water in no time. So if not, you need more buckets. So let's see how that'll go. Your fortress will now generate fill pond requests. One for each of these zones. If you have trouble with fulfilling these, there's a nice trick that I learned. We're going to assign only one dwarf for hauling, and if I remember correctly, that did the trick. So let's see. Sometimes really hard to find that one thing that you're looking for. I mean, you can go up to the extreme and also create a new custom work detail just for water hauling. Here we go. That's how I made it the last time. And then you set up all those people that you want to set up for that task. Here we go. Now we have way more water haulers than we need. And here's the thing: if it now doesn't get done, you need either a other water source or more buckets. I've had several these problems several times. Buckets, I mean. So I learned also one thing about fortresses in general. There's no such thing as too many buckets. Don't think that there is even the slightest possibility of having too many buckets. It's not possible. You will be enjoying your decision to have as many buckets as possible. Seriously, there's just I emphasize this so hard because buckets are real lifesavers. Several things that are important in the fortress are made with buckets. Among these are treating your wounded with water. So what I mean when I say they are lifesavers in a literal way. I'm not over exaggerating even here. So let's see, look at that. There's the first few puddles of water being delivered there, and the important thing is that you need a lot of people on that duty. That's why I set up the work orders like that. This way, you can get the job done even if you don't have any aquiferous rock in the vicinity. Here, we could do really cool things like building up a little bit of a chamber where we allocate water and then just pipe it into the system. This is pretty cool, but by all means, I don't want to over-engineer here anything when we can as well here just showcase super nicely how cool you can bring up these things just like that. So next step is going to be the pump, and the pump will pump water from this tile to that tile. Really important is that we have to have a wall here. Otherwise, it will be a bit of an issue. Could splash into the wrong direction and too much water could escape. In case it doesn't make sense yet, it will make sense in a hot minute. And, well, we're going to wait until the water level is high enough. Okay. So we got the screw pump now, and few things do we require that I personally think are mandatory for a water generator. So for me personally, it's the flooring. Okay, you know me, flooring everywhere. I just hear me out. The thing is, the floor gets muddied if it gets wet, and this is wet work. You know, you will get whoa 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 whoa, dude, rams. Sorry, I misclicked. What I was trying to say before I was spamming rams everywhere. The thing is, wet floor gets muddied up, and I don't like to have my my workspace here all muddied up. Therefore, we're covering it a little bit with flooring beforehand. Because, you know, we will pump the water from that tile to that other tile, but it will splash around, and there will be wet tiles everywhere. If you don't care about the mudding, it's okay. But I don't. Alright, as you see here, the Bucket Brigade is doing their job, and you don't need to fill that thing to 7 of 7. It's actually not really, not at all interesting to have that, because this actually makes things only objectively worse, because that water will evaporate or escape until you have hit a level of 3 to 4. So we're almost ready to install the actual thing, and now I see what happened there. So the dwarves can't reach that tile anymore because we locked them out. So let's rip out that wall for that sake. You know, it should be orderly. So let's do the lever that I've been talking about. And we also will put up a hatch on that tile now. And at the same time, I'm going to delete now all the other pond designators, and I'll only leave one for now. So we're not going too crazy anymore. The thing is, the water won't evaporate anymore now at this point, because the water has hit now a certain level. That's just all we need. The hatch here is to be able to stop the whole machinery at some point. Because if you don't put a hatch in there, basically the only way to shut off the machine would be to deconstruct the screw pump. That would be the only way. So let's finally put up the actual energy producers, the water wheels. There we go. And I just decided that we're going to relay the power over this axle here. Or even like that. This is even more efficient. Why not? Okay, so we're going to need just one more piece of wall. So, there we go. Just will take a moment now. This thing needs now to be linked with the hatch. One day they will maybe finally construct that thing here. And once this water wheel has been constructed, I'm also going to encase this here even further. I just want to keep the squares where the water can go to as minimal as possible. This way we'll lose almost no water at the end of the day. Alright, so now this thing is locked, and we're going to open it now. And yeah, the water reactor should be ready. So let's pump up the crank, and if everything has gone according to plan, this thing will now produce 200 power. Boom. Total power, 200. And consumed power, 30. So this is pretty crazy, and you could now add up to 2 water wheels to that thing, so you can expand that. But one thing has to be taken... let's not build that. One thing has to be said here. This consumes FPS like crazy. This is a very, very This is a very, very processor-heavy thing because you have constantly fluids in motion, and this is one of the things that that slows down the game quite heavily. So use these sparingly is the verdict. I'm going to run another episode the other day towards the topic wind power, but today I wanted to start out with water power. And since we don't have any river tiles, we have to fall back to this measure. The thing is, when you have a river tile, you can just hang the water wheel inside of the river and it automatically produces power. This goes even so far that if you dig artificial channels off the rivers, branching off of the river, as long as the water is connected to the river, it is river for the sake of the game, and you can't put a water wheel in it and generate power with it. So, that being said, let's connect this stuff up. So we can now put up axles to transport that power. And here goes the harsh thing. So here we need 5 wooden logs. This is quite a lot. And if we want to go around a corner, we will require a gear assembly. These are your corner pieces. They also connect up and above, you know. This is basically a connector in all directions except diagonal. So north, south, east, west, up, down, but not diagonal. Just to give you a thing here. So we can now turn off the this custom detail, and we can now normalize the hauling situation again. I just have made very, very good experiences with doing it like that. Out of the simple reason that this way the water got delivered really fast, you know. So, oh yeah, and another thing I strongly recommend in regions like these, keep all the stuff that's lying in the channel forbidden, so no silly dwarf goes into the currents, because, you know, this water here is gushing around with pressure, and pressure shoves things around. Among the things that can be shoved around by pressure are dwarves. So, what's happening here? I didn't cancel that. Dudes, I don't know why that work order just got cancelled. It shouldn't have been cancelled. And now we can think about our mist generator. So I already noticed that we can only go at this spot here, because here the aquiferous rock is helping us out. That's okay though. It's gonna be fine. We could though also take the mist generator into the dining hall, but as you see here, there's actually not much commotion happening here. Most of the things are happening over here at the meeting zone, and we're going to smallen the meeting zone now accordingly, so it's going to be centered around the area where we want to have the mist generator. But I don't think that we're going to get to the construction of the mist generator in today's episode. I didn't expect that to, though. So these water generators, they are super handy. I really like them because you can do so much with them. But I repeat myself here. Please take that processor, that FPS thing seriously. You will eat up FPS like crazy when you build too many of them. So I find that funny insofar as it is a pretty interesting limitation of utilizing that endless power source, you know. You cannot really abuse it because you are actually, well, you're going to gimp yourself if you do so. So let's delete that custom work detail, and let's do that. So here I am, again, a little bit impatient and waiting for these things to get done. Takes longer than I'd like it to, but that's okay. We're going to get there. So let's see, is that guild hall okay for them? No, it ain't. So here again, I am going the statue way, and now we have lots of shale statues that I have prepared in between the episodes. So these are medium value, but if we slam down a couple of these, we can substantially increase the value of certain rooms. So Next guild hall will be for the crafts dwarf. So as you notice, the larger your city grows, the more of these requests pop up, and that's simply because, you know, more people mean more dwarfs working in similar venues of work, and then if there are enough dwarfs of a certain job, certain religion, whatever, they always want to form an organization or a church or whatever. You get the idea by now, I think. So this will all take a moment, I think. Yeah, I ordered them to dump the stones, by the way, the garbage can icon, but then I realized I don't have any garbage dump area. So the garbage dump thingy is quite useful when you want to get rid of things that are lying on top of your construction, as you see there. Those boulders, they are blocking the way. And now everything that has the garbage can icon is going to get dumped inside there. And as you see here, it even allows me to compactify things. We're going to utilize these things in another episode when I'm talking a little bit more about quantum stockpiling and the like. And here you might already notice what I meant with flooring this place. The water generators are a little bit of a messy thing, and it's spilling in directions that I didn't even foresee, but that's okay. Elk bird is fighting. Oh, another elk bird went into the trap system. Okay. Oopsie. Let's relieve it of its pain. There we go. Just to be sure that there's going to be no major whoopsie in that regard. So, let's see. Is that now sufficient? Yes, it is. So, here we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to order these tasks in between the episodes. And here you see now, construction is finally going along. Sometimes you have to do this like that. So what's also quite important here to note is that you might already notice that a lot of power gets consumed here. That's because power transportation actually also costs you power. So keep that in mind when you want to construct things like that. I even think that we might be deconstructing that gear wheel one more time and take the cross off a little bit further back. I'm settling the saving screens right now and on top of it. But thing is, an axle costs 1 energy, and those corner pieces cost more power to be hauled up. Basically, the longer the transportation of your power system, the more power you'll need. But if we need more power, we can just put add-ons on that. But I hope that there's going to be enough juice on that thing to keep the mist generator powered. So I'm going to install the mist generator though in the next episode. For that, we will require a couple of statues. I don't know. Do we have enough statues? Let's fetch some more. Statues are... I love statues, okay? You might have already noticed by now. And that's because they are, so far, really interesting, as they are also blocking movement quite supremely. You cannot move over a statue. Dwarves can move over pretty much every piece of furniture, but not over statues. It's something to note. So we're going to go for the muscular standard. This is actually the name of the civilization here, the muscular standard. I find that quite amusing. So we're going to assign these statues and use these in the upcoming episode. So for the outro, for today's outro, I'm going to lay down some flooring in the new Crafts Dwarfs halls, because, you know, we keep expanding every day. And, well, next episode, Mist Generator. It's actually not that much of a big deal. Once we have set it up, you will be able to reproduce that as often as you want to. It's quite a power tool, and well, we're going to showcase that. We are now at 166 people in the fortress. That also means we're reaching slowly the peak of our population, that means expansion work will pretty soon subside, and opening up the opportunity for more illustrious projects. It always goes down like that. That you have a lot of free room and free time until your fortress hits roughly a population of 80, and from that point on, you will be a lot about expanding and getting done things more quickly. You can change that in the advanced game settings. I'm going to look up how. I don't know it from the back of my mind, and those configuration menus in this game are quite extensive. But the short of it, if you feel overwhelmed by this amount of people to manage, you can lower the amount of people. It's just a standard setting to give you to give you 200 dwarves to manage. You can't change that, like you can't change pretty much everything in this game. So that's been all I had to say for today's episode. The water generator is up and running, as you see here. We have the power transported, and next episode we're actually going to do something with it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Drop me your comments down below. Let me know what you think about water generators and all these things. And feel free to leave a thumbs up on that video. It helps a ton to make this whole thing more visible. And of course, subscribe if you want to support the channel. This help goes a really long way, and it doesn't cost you a thing. And if you want to stay notified, just hit that bell thing. And playlists are down there below, leading to all the different Dwarf Fortress stuff that I made. And at this point, again, a shout out to all the supporters of this channel that are supporting me via Patreon, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee. I deeply appreciate every single gesture of these, because it really means a lot to me. And yeah, thanks yet again. And the links to these are down there below. So have a good one. Thanks for bearing with me through the ad roll, and I hope you're having a good time. And next time we're going to do some mist generators, my friends. See you there.